That is not the sound you want to hear from your tires. Well, time to get a new one, I guess. Well, that wasn't exactly how I intended to start today's video, but you know, life throws things at you and you just kind of have to deal with them. But yeah, I walked out into my garage and I heard like an air leaking sound, and I was like, oh no. Turns out the tire had a basically nail-sized hole in it, but no nail in the tire. But like I mentioned in a previous video, it was about time for the front tires on this car to be replaced anyway, and so not a huge deal. It just kind of forced me to go ahead and take care of the needing new tires issue. And luckily I live like about half a mile from a Tire Kingdom, so I was able to inflate the tire really quick and get it there. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, hi, my name's Elijah, and we are currently sitting in my 2001 Porsche 911 that I am calling my cheap or my budget 911. I've owned this car for about a year now, and it is time to start addressing some of the little issues that it has. Nothing major is wrong with the car, but today we're going to start taking care of some of the little things and little annoyances that this car has. So stick around and enjoy the video. First stop of the day is Autozone. I gotta go in here to try to find two things. Number one is some grease for the trunk latch, because the trunk latch has to constantly be greased to work, and so I think if I do like a more permanent kind of grease solution other than WD-40, that should work. And also I'm gonna look for some touch-up paint so I can redo the gear shift. I've been looking online and it says the GM color will match, so we're gonna try this GM and see if it works. All right, so now that I'm back at home, the first thing we're gonna do is work on this torn seat. As you can see, the driver's side seat is incredibly worn, lots of cracks in it, but I'm gonna try to fix it with this. This is a package from a company called Leather Magic. They make all kinds of leather repair products, and they were one of the only companies that I found that would match the Metropole blue interior of my car. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed and see what's inside. So it looks like in this kit we have like leather compound to repair the tears. We have a leather prep, we have a leather cleaner, we have leather conditioner, we have the actual dye for the car itself, and we also have like some prep tools and stuff like that. So I'm gonna watch a couple of videos, read the instructions, and see how this works, and then I'm gonna try to use it on the car. So there's plenty of wear on the seats, but I'm gonna start out by repairing these like big tears, because obviously those are the most pertinent issues, and then I'll move on to stuff like, you know, these cracks down here. But for right now, we're just gonna worry about these, and then we'll see kind of what material I have left over. I'm sorry to interrupt myself, but I'm editing this video right now, and I feel like I need to do a little explaining. I actually filmed the process of refinishing my seat from start to finish, point of view with a GoPro and everything, and honestly, to show you guys all that footage would have been boring anyway, but it really turned out to not be good footage. It was very dark in my garage and it just wasn't good. But when I was editing the clips I did have that were usable, I felt like it did not give an honest reflection of the experience. In truth, doing the leather repair was very tedious. It took about 14 hours total for me to do, between waiting for the compound to dry and painting it and repainting it and sanding. It was a very tedious process that took a really long time. It was extremely difficult to do with the cracks I had. I do admit that those were probably a little too far gone for just a simple leather repair, but I thought it was worth mentioning that if you have big gashes like that in your seats, it's probably not going to work as well as it should. Or maybe I just didn't do it right, but I did follow all the instructions to the best of my ability, and I really felt like I took my time and tried to do a good job. Additionally, I filmed all that stuff about a week and a half ago, and since then, my seat has actually started to crack again. Very small cracks, and I probably can fill them up. Nothing compared to how it was before, but I felt like I owed you guys a little explanation. So if you decide to do this, the process is very long, it is very tedious,
and the clips you're about to see do not really reflect the entire process. If you're all interested in a little tutorial about how I completed everything, I'll be happy to film a video like that. Just let me know in the comments below. But this is definitely not a how-to video. If you are interested in the product, I do still recommend it. It is good, and it does work well on minor scratches and scuffs. But for big tears like this, I'm not really sure that it is the best thing, because you can still see some blemishes in the seat. But anyway, I've talked too long. Back to me in the past.
All right, so now that these little patches are installed, the next step is to actually glue down the pieces to the patch and then fill them in. Okay, so I have now done the first coat of the leather repair, like a compound. So you gotta do it lightly so you can see it's not covering the whole thing yet, but once it dries, I'll be able to sand everything down and get it smooth again, and then we'll go for the rest of the coats until it's basically completely full. Okay, so I've now done a couple coats, and you can see it's looking a lot better. I've kind of already sanded this part smooth down here. These are pretty much filled in. These are drying again. Obviously, the really deep cuts I had to do, multiple coats on. So we're still letting them dry. I still have to fill them in some more, so there's still a lot to do. But so far, it looks like this is feels pretty smooth. It feels basically the same as this. So I'm impressed with the product so far. So I've now masked up the entire area. This is probably a step I should have taken earlier, but I didn't. It hasn't really mattered up until now, but I am getting close to the point where I'm gonna start dyeing the seat. I think I just need one more coat of the filler maybe. Those cuts were really, really deep, so it's taken lots and lots of small additions of the leather compound to fill those in, but I'm getting close. The rest of the seat is pretty much smooth. I just have to get those done and then a final sanding, and then I get to dye it finally. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Pretty impressed with this color match. It looks pretty good. So basically what you do is you use the sponge brush first to kind of lay it on really light layers. I know it doesn't look like it's light just because the color's dark, but it's laid on there pretty light. And then after that, there's a spray tool to make sure it's kind of all even. So once I can address this issue right here that I'm having, then I can get to that. Like I said, this crack right here is doing pretty well. This one right here though, is definitely going to require some attention. All right guys, so I'm sorry, I kind of forgot to film some of the stuff, but basically all day I have been working on getting this one spot fixed. It keeps coming undone. You can see up here, this top crack is mostly good. I still have to do some more sanding, possibly some more filling. It is now the next day, and before I go downstairs to check on how my leather repair is going, I wanted to unbox this. This is the Schnell short shift kit that I ordered from Pelican Parts for $165. When I was looking up upgrades to do to the car, a short shift kit was number one on the list of easy things you can do to really improve the driving feel. The only thing is, this is not the $165 Schnell short shift kit. It wouldn't be right for me to spend so much on an upgrade on my budget 911. So this is a $32 short shift kit that I ordered from eBay. We'll see how it goes, but through my research, I found out that mostly this is the same parts and everything as the Schnell short shift kit. That's hard to say. Schnell short shift kit. Try saying that 5 times fast. But anyway, I realized that these were mostly the same parts, so I thought I'll go ahead and try it. If it doesn't work, whatever, I'm out $30. If it does work, though, I've saved $130. So it seemed like a good return, or possibility for return. So once I get the leather repair done, we're also going to be installing this on the car. After I finish getting this spot figured out, I'm going to basically sand down the whole thing again, make sure it's all really nice and smooth, and then dye it again as well. It looks pretty good, not professional. You can definitely see where this stuff is. For some reason, where I put the patches in and stuff, it won't sit flush. I think it's just too worn. The foam underneath is too messed up, but it looks decent. If I went to have this professionally done and it looked like this, I would not be happy. But it definitely looks better than what it did before. Now that I've dyed it once, I can kind of see the little imperfections, so I'll try to sand those and get that looking better. This part, I could have filled in some more, but I really just filled in the main cracks. I wasn't trying to necessarily restore this, just kind of prevent it from getting worse. And so I kind of succeeded with that. The last step to get this kind of like really good finish is supposed to be to use this sprayer. I'm a little nervous about it, but you can see I've got everything taped off. I've got the cloth draped around everything, so I should be okay. But yeah, so this is just supposed to make it kind of a more even finish so it doesn't look like it's been brushed on. And yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. All right, the leather repair is done and I would describe it as a success. The last step where I kind of sprayed on the finish, that really kind of put it over the edge. Definitely not a professional job, and you can definitely tell the difference between the stock, you know, seat bolster and my repair, but it is a lot better and it is going to prevent further damage on those big cracks. The next thing to do is going to be to tackle the short shifter kit. So let's go ahead and get the center console out and get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do is to get the actual shift boot and shift knob off, because like I said, I wanna repaint this because it's very worn and I wanna give the paint enough time to dry and everything. So let's go ahead and get the shift boot off. Almost popped myself in the face right there. All right, so there's this off. Let's get ready to be painted. All right, so the shift boot is actually in really good condition, so I think we're going to leave it. All we're gonna be doing is painting this middle part silver. Everything else is in really good condition, but you can see this used to be the same Metropole blue. I'm gonna be unable to match that, so I'm gonna paint it silver to kind of match the accents on the door handles and all that good stuff. It's now time to paint the gear shift, and what I'm gonna be using is this Duplicolor Perfect Match. This is actually matched for GM colors, and when I was doing some research online, everything on forums and stuff said that this color actually matched really well. Now, if it doesn't, luckily, the gear shift is not next to any other trim piece that has silver on it, so I don't think it'll be super noticeable. And I also saw the Volkswagen colors were good as well. Unfortunately, the diamond silver Volkswagen color that was recommended, I could not find online anywhere for sale. So yeah, so I got this from AutoZone, and hopefully it's going to work really well. And like I said, if not, if it doesn't match perfectly, it's not near any other trim piece, so I don't think it'll be that noticeable. Paint is drying, we're gonna go ahead and do the rest of everything. So first thing to do is to remove this side panel. I need to move this seat all the way back. All right, this should just pop off for us. Okay, got that unclipped. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is just remove the ashtray or the coin holder, whatever you want to call it. It comes right out, no big deal on that. And then there are just a variety of different Torx bits, T20 and T30s, that we have to undo in order to remove this center part. Okay, next thing is to actually remove the shifter. So we're going to have to undo these bolts and get cracking on that. But taking all this apart, it gives me a good chance to clean down in here because it's 20 years worth of grime and whatnot. All right, I got my 10mm socket right here. What's up? So unfortunately, while I was trying to record taking this out and getting the center console actually out, my camera decided to stop going. But this video is probably long enough and plenty boring. But anyway, it is time to actually put in the new shift kit into the mechanism. So I'm actually watching a video right here to make sure I know how to do it. But yeah, I'm just gonna time lapse all this. And yeah, I mean, this is like so sloppy. Like you can tell that this is not a good shifter anyway.
Alright, now that we have the shifter all installed, it is time to put back in the center console, which I'm sure is going to be a pain because it was really a pain putting it or taking it out. So here we go. Alright, there it is, all reinstalled. The only thing to do is put the shift boot on, but I'm still waiting for the paint to dry, so we'll do that soon. So of course the first thing I had to do after doing all those upgrades was to get out here and drive the car, and oh my gosh, this short shift kit feels so much better than the stock shifter. The stock shifter, if it was in gear or in neutral, I could literally just jiggle the gear lever all around. With this short shift kit, it is locked in. It feels fantastic to actually shift gear. It just feels like more notchy. I don't know, you can literally feel it like click into gear. It's got so much more feeling. It makes me look forward to changing gear. Like I just want to, like, you just feel it and it just feels so good. I don't know how to like describe it, especially if you don't drive stick shift, but if you drive stick, you know what I'm talking about. It just feels so much better. What an upgrade to the car for just $40, not even. And it feels completely different, changes the feel of driving completely. If you have not done a short shift kit on your 996, I highly recommend, if you have a 996, to do it. Even if you paid $165 for the actual Schnell short shift kit, totally worth it. But yeah, I paid $40 for mine off eBay. I will try to put the link in the description if I can find it. Obviously it was an auction, so I can't necessarily find it again, but I'll try my best. But literally, I think if I was holding the two kits in my hand, I don't think I'd be able to tell a difference. This one was all metal. It felt great. It felt very sturdy. None of it was like plastic or anything. And the install was super simple. You just need two Torx bits, a 20 and a 30, and a little bit of time, probably like an hour. Although it's hard for me to judge because I was also repainting my gear shift while, like the actual shifter, while I was doing the actual installation. So you probably could do it with even less than that. And it just makes it feel fantastic. Definitely worth the money. I'm a little more skeptical of my leather repair, if I'm honest. It took a lot of time. It was very tedious. My filming of it didn't really work out how I planned, but I'm nervous about how it's going to actually hold up. It obviously looks way better than it did before. You'll be able to see, I'll insert some B-roll right here of the before and after. Obviously it looks a lot better, but I am nervous about how it's going to hold up. I think the cracks I have were just a little too far gone for this to really work. I think if you have some of the cracks I have on the bottom of my seats to fill those in, I think it would work great. But I had to add so many layers of the compound that I'm nervous about how it's going to hold up over time. But at least now my clothes will not catch on the tears every time I get in the car. It was just such an eyesore. The first thing I saw every time I got in the car was those tears, and it really just made it feel like I was getting into something like cheap and trashy instead of getting into my Porsche 911. For you guys that have subscribed to my channel for motorcycle content, more is coming, I promise. We are now into the fall months here in Florida, and the weather is getting nice. Time to do a lot of riding. Stay tuned because my next video, I'm finally going to make my Honda CB650 run, hopefully. So stick around for that. And as always, stay subscribed for all my adventures on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or no wheels at all. Bye.